Hello, and welcome to the CHA Extracurricular Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Keller, and I'm excited to have our athletics assistant and varsity volleyball coach, Christy Williams, as our guest in the studio. Coach Williams, welcome. I just threw my headset off.
You did. Hey, everybody. Excited to be here for this podcast.
All right, well, we're excited to have you. We're going to be talking a little bit about your new position as the athletics assistant, and of course, we're going to talk a lot about volleyball. I have to confess, first off, I don't know much at all about volleyball. In fact, the other week when I was talking to Coach Castillo, she had to remind me that in volleyball, you actually have to win by 2. So,
Yes.
I've got a lot of learning to do this year. Well, let's kind of just jump in, and one thing I love about getting to do this is I get to ask the questions that I should have asked when I first met folks, but didn't.
Okay.
So that question I've got for you is just how did you find out about CHA?
Well, I grew up in Franklin County, so I've always known about CHA. But then my niece and nephew attended CHA in their secondary years here, and my niece actually played volleyball here at CHA. So that's kind of how CHA came back on my radar.
Yeah.
So with Ruthie. So, and so now my Ruthie is here in she's going into 7th grade this year.
And when did Ruthie first start here?
She started here in K5.
Okay,
in K5,
yeah, so straight away.
Straight away.
Awesome.
Yep.
So that's how you really kind of got your, that's not the right way to put it, foot in the door, but that's how you became involved here as a parent. How did you get more involved here, being on staff and then eventually coaching or whichever of those things came first? I don't even know.
So back with my niece when it was her senior year here playing volleyball, and I actually helped out a little bit coaching then. And then Ruthie was still little, and don't ask me age because I couldn't tell you age or years. I'm horrible at stuff
That's
like that.
all right.
But anyway, but I wanted to spend as much time with Ruthie before she had to start school. So I backed out a little bit, but then Ruthie started here in K5, and once again, couldn't tell you again what grade she was in when I started coaching. So, but then they needed a volleyball coach, and I came and talked with Mr. Quist, and it looked like it was going to be a great fit. And so that's how I came to start here at CHA. And then that summer, they also needed an elementary PE teacher. And I was like, you know what? I'll do that until you find somebody. And the rest is history. God took it from there and was like, no, you thought this was going to be temporary. And here we are, I don't know, going to my 6th year now. So, yeah, it was not temporary. It's pretty much in the blood now.
Gotcha.
We're here for good.
We're really glad to have you here for
thank
sure. Man, you've got me off my game here. So talking about getting involved here and all of that, I'm just thinking about all the awesome parents that we have and how folks kind of just lend their gifts as you did and then end up getting involved maybe more than they anticipated. But we're just so blessed to have folks that are willing to share what they know or what they have or time, right? Time being one of the most important things that we all have a limited amount of. So thank you for being one of those folks and kind of just being wholehearted into this. And with that, tell us a little bit about being the athletics assistant. What's that change like, or just kind of give us some of the, how that has changed your role here, from going from elementary PE teacher to volleyball coach and then athletics assistant. What's new for you now?
I started kind of with athletics assistants last year of getting my feet wet with ordering T-shirts and designing uniforms and stuff like that. And I really realized that I had a passion for not just creating different designs uniform-wise and T-shirt-wise, gear apparel-wise, but also creating an atmosphere at games and events that had to do with athletics where we really want to step it up a notch. And as much as I love my littles in elementary PE, I really felt led to go towards the athletic way. And man, we fielded like 5 new teams last year or something. So we needed to, Castillo, I wanted to be able to help Castillo out, and that's what CHA needed. So that's the route that we're going. And one of the things that I'm really excited about is promoting our athletes on an individual level. And we started doing this over the summer where we were highlighting different athletes and the things that they were doing over the summer. Because an athlete, it's 365 days a year. It's not just, hey, you know what? I want to go out and be a basketball star. It's something that you work towards. So anyway, that's what I'm really excited about is my athletes and making the program better for them, being able to work closer with our parent partners and making the game night experience and athletic events just the most that it possibly can be.
Yeah, and with the growth of the school, that's so necessary to have more heads thinking about athletics. So thank you for stepping up to that. And like you mentioned, you've been working closely with Nancy Castillo since she's been here, as far as I can tell. That's just an outsider's perspective. But thank you for doing that. And speaking of which, I told you I wouldn't have any secret questions, but things come up. So tell me what it's like to work with your former coach, right?
It's different because it took me forever to, once she started here, to call her Nancy on occasion. So, and that's still even now today. I'll call her Nancy occasionally, but I'll call her Castillo. But at first, it was very hard for me not to be like, hey, Coach Castillo.
Yeah.
Coach Castillo. So it's been really great. I mean, Nancy, back when you play for a coach and a coach cares about you and only wants you to succeed, they're going to be a little tough on you because they're going to push you so that they get the very best out of you. So did I appreciate Nancy when I was a preteen and teenager? No, not as much as I look back now and I'm like, man, the way she impacted my life and the things that she did, you don't realize it at the time. But so to now have her kind of as a mentor too when it comes to coaching and volleyball knowledge, because she has a vast array of volleyball knowledge in general, but it's great.
Yeah.
It's great. It was a little awkward at first because like, how does this work? Like, how does this dynamic work anymore?
Right.
Of you can't really make me go and, run hills. I mean, I guess you could try, but, and I would do it, honestly.
Uh-huh.
But it's wonderful to be able to work with Nancy because we have that, we both have the passion for our athletes in the athletic department.
And that's evident.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, that's what makes it all work. So it's been great. It's been really great.
Awesome. And she shared that you kind of recruited her here to the CHA family. So I've got to thank you while I've got you here in the studio for doing that for us. We're so blessed to have both of you.
Well, thank you. Yeah, there's some days that Nancy's like, man, I'm really glad. And then other days she's like, Christy, what did you get me into? I'm like, you're welcome. You're here with me. Like, let's share it together.
That's right. We're going to kind of change it up a little bit here and shift to volleyball. So I've got this question for you. Let's just say that, what would your kind of pitch be to someone about like maybe why volleyball is awesome?
Oh, man. There's so many different things that makes volleyball awesome. But I think one of the things that makes volleyball one of the toughest sports you can play, and yes, I know, I hear you. If you play baseball, you're like, no, baseball's the hardest sport you can play. If you're a golfer, you're like, what? Golfing's the hardest sport. But with volleyball, it is a game where we go against everything that you have been taught since you were a toddler. So imagine, Waylon, and you're like, you have a ball, and what are you trying to, toss him the ball, and what do you tell him to do with it?
Catch.
And volleyball, you never catch the ball. So when the ball's coming towards you, You're going to hit the ball, or redirect is what we like to use a word while coaching, redirect the ball to your goal or your destination, your target. So it's very hard instinctually when you have a brand new player who's never really played volleyball but has the athletic skills, that when you toss them a ball, the first thing they want to do is just catch it. So to break that muscle memory that we have been ingraining in them since they were little toddlers toddling around is very difficult. Other than that, volleyball is just awesome because it's fast paced. You have to think on your feet and be able to call an audible within seconds and have 5 other people follow right behind you. So anyway, volleyball's awesome.
Yeah, that's really good, and I've never thought about the instincts that you have to kind of unlearn to play. That's really fascinating. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
So let's kind of take it up to the next level now, right?
Okay.
So we see why volleyball is awesome, but now tell me as a spectator, or maybe if you had like young players who are still learning the game, what would be some bit of either strategy or next level thinking that your average young player or spectator doesn't realize about volleyball?
So with volleyball, no matter where you are on the court at the time, if you're one of the 6 people on the court, you constantly have a job. When a lot of people play when they're first starting out, or they're playing what I like to call, and Castillo likes to call, backyard ball, and that's where you throw up the net in your backyard and you're just throwing it around, bouncing it around. But is that you constantly have a job while you're on the court. So even if the ball's not coming towards you, there's something you should be doing. And it's either going to be backing up the player that the ball is coming towards, or you're covering for your hitter, you're covering for your blocker, you're getting ready for a serve receive, you're the setter. Like, there's something that you're constantly doing. So if you're in the back left corner and the ball's going to the front right corner, a lot of people are like, oh, I don't have anything to do. But when you start ramping up and going to the next level of play, you have a ton to do right then. And you have to think about all the different scenarios of what's going to happen. So that's something that sometimes with young players that we have to constantly help them remember is, if your feet are on the court, you're constantly engaged. You're engaged. You're ready to go, because you've got a job to do no matter what.
Right. Nobody on their heels, right?
No, nobody
Always
on their heels.
toes.
Always ready to go.
There you go. Excellent. Well, you obviously have a lot of passion for volleyball and experience too. So why don't you just tell us a little bit about your volleyball experience, or maybe even if you want to share how you got into volleyball in the first place? Or...
Yeah. Well, I was kind of a gym rat. I didn't have parents that coached, but I'm the youngest of 3 older sisters, so 4 girls. Poor daddy. But I'm the youngest, and 2 of them played volleyball, and they also babysat me. So when they had to babysit and it was summer and it was volleyball practice time, I went to the gym with them. So I can remember way back when my sister Monica played, and she was playing under Coach Salibi at Franklin County, and just I can still remember some of the cool downs that they did, and just the different things and warm ups and some of the drills. So that's where it all started when I was little, tiny. Wasn't even old enough to play. And then when way back in the good old golden years, golden days, they didn't have middle school volleyball when I was in middle school. So it wasn't until my 9th grade, and that's when I started playing volleyball, and played volleyball through school. And then even after that, played, adult leagues and stuff. My husband and I played doubles before, played with different church leagues. So we just kind of stayed in it.
Yeah.
I always pick up a volleyball. And I come from a volleyball family. So family reunions, beach trips, there's normally a ball in a net.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, we're glad to have your experience and your knowledge here to share that with our players as well. So thank you so much for that. Speaking of your players, I wonder if you would share a little bit. We're starting to get amped up. Today, I have to be clear, it's the 17th, but this podcast won't come out till Monday, so everybody's going to be all catawampus with this episode. But you guys have a game Friday.
Yes,
so
super
we're getting
excited.
really, excited and amped up for that, and a lot of energy. One thing I want to ask you is about your players and how they've participated in different camps in the off-season, and just share your thoughts about camps in general or off-season. Or and even more specifically, are there things that you already see in those players? Overall, that's a lot. I know.
It is.
So you
But
take
that's
it whatever way you want.
All
But
right.
kind of, what's your pitch for camps and the impact it has on our players?
Starting with going back, did any of our players participate in camps this year? I mean, we had a vast variety of kids going in all different directions in different states to attend volleyball camps. MK, or Emily Kate, as you guys know her, I call her MK. MK went to Liberty for a camp.
Awesome.
Evie went down to North Carolina for a camp. Maggie has been going to not necessarily volleyball camps, but she's been doing strength and conditioning through a trainer.
Yeah.
And so, and then really, actually, we had a camp here with Coach Andy Flora, and every single one of my players came to that.
Excellent.
Off-season training is unbelievably important because you can't just walk onto the court for team selections or, the first game and think that you can't just, superstars aren't necessarily born, they're made. And it's who wants to put in the work.
Right.
And the time to put in the work is off-season. And that's when you build your body, you build your stamina, and so that you're ready to go when the season rolls around. And you're still even working on skill, and on your skill throughout the off season, so that when you come in together as a team and the team is selected and you come together under your coach, that's where you really starting to get into strategy and gameplay. Especially at the varsity level, junior varsity some and varsity level, we really want to use our practice time not to teach you the fundamentals. Like, we want to sharpen those. Of course, we always want to work on fundamentals and foundation, but what we're really after is strategic gameplay and learning offensive and defensive strategies to take the game to the next level.
Yeah, I'm glad
what am I missing? Am I missing something? I can't. There's a lot of questions.
Oh,
in there.
well, you covered it. But really, I just wanted to point out, I'm glad that you mentioned the difference between camp versus practice, right? Because a lot of folks might just think, well, practice, that's where you learn to play, but there's more to it, right? That's where the team has to grow versus as an individual, you need to take that off season to grow yourself, because during the season it's about the team growing, not just your own personal growth, right?
Exactly. Yeah. During the season, it's about coming together as a team. Off season is building yourself up so that you can be a part of that team, so that you can contribute to that team. And because if we don't have everybody contributing, then what is that saying? You're only as strong as your weakest link.
That's right. Yeah.
Only as strong as your weakest link.
Excellent. So. Well, I really think that we're going to go ahead and wrap things up here. I've been really glad to have you in the studio and just chatting a little bit. It's been fun, and I'm learning a lot about volleyball.
Good.
I'll see if I can keep a few of those things in mind. Thank you, everyone out there, for listening to this episode of the Extracurricular Podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I did. And thank you, Coach Williams, for being here.
Friday's game.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, this will come out after Friday, so I can't even really promote it.
We've got to figure that out.
Well, if you were there.
Thank you for being at the game on Friday.
Yes, that'll be awesome.
I love that. I look forward to a great volleyball season here at CHA. And Christy, I look forward to having you back on the podcast again in the future.
Thank you. This was awesome, Chris. Thanks for the opportunity.
Oh, well, thank you. It was fun. Well, with that, folks, may we be united as one. Go Knights.